Hello, and welcome to the Wine Educate podcast. I'm your host, Joanne Close, and this is episode 51. So this is our Thursday episode. I'm answering a question, and it wasn't a specific person who asked this question, but it seems to come up a lot. And honestly, it's a bit of a spicy topic. Oh, spicy topic. But I want to talk about it anyway because I think it's really interesting. And that is the topic of what is a sommelier? What is the definition? Who can use the title? Who shouldn't use the title? Oh, controversial. So let's have a little look at the definition and the history. It is a French word. It goes way back to the medieval times from the base of the old French word sommelier, meaning beast of burden. So a sommelier is the person responsible for the pack animals. Okay, goes way, way back, but it has evolved into someone who was then responsible for transporting goods, including wine. And by the middle of the 1700s, 1800s, it had morphed into the person who worked in an aristocratic household and who was the person in charge or the steward of the wine itself. So taking care of all things concerning wine, the service, the glasses, maybe even the dining room and the silverware. Now, the modern meaning is the person responsible for wine selection and service in a fine dining setting. The word really jumped into the main scene because of the 2012 movie SOMM, which chronicles the journey of 4 individuals who are pursuing their Court of Master SOMM titles. And since then, the word has been used in kind of other contexts. It's been really interesting to see as a word that can mean maybe just someone who knows something about wine. I am going to defer to Janis Robinson on this, her definition in the Oxford Companion to Wine. What Janis says is usually the universal definition, and she still defines it as someone who is a specialist wine waiter or wine steward, whose roles include things like curating the wine list, meaning making decisions about what goes on and what does not, buying and managing the inventory, storing and rotating the stock, serving the wine tableside, recommending pairings to guests, and is often part of a restaurant's front of house team. Someone who is a SOMM may have passed their various levels of the Court of Master SOMM or taken another education path like WSET. I certainly have past students that are now working on the floor in a restaurant as the SOMM in the SOMM role. But here's where it gets a bit interesting because I see more and more people using the term SOMM to describe themselves when they're not working the traditional role of a sommelier in a restaurant, on the floor, serving wine, buying the wine, and so on and so forth. So is it okay for someone who is in wine education to refer to themselves as a sommelier? What about someone who works in a retail store who's still recommending wines and has good wine knowledge and would also still be talking about food and wine pairings to refer to themselves as a sommelier? Or perhaps an importer distributor is someone who has passed the Court of Master SOMM exams or even WSET credentials. Now that they've received wine credentials, can they then refer to themselves as a SOMM or a sommelier? See how this is a spicy topic? I'll play devil's advocate a little bit on this one because words do evolve. They do change in their meaning. I remember when I was a teenager, my grandmother was completely annoyed by the fact that the word party had become a verb, right? I'm going to go party. She thought that was the weirdest thing ever. But now we all accept that pretty readily, that if we say I'm going to go party, fine, we all know what that means and we all use it. Is the same thing happening to the word sommelier? Is that okay? Or should we stick to the textbook meaning that a sommelier is a word that's only reserved for those people that are working in a restaurant as a wine steward, performing those duties of buying, dealing with guests, and so on and so forth? I think this is a really interesting topic. And if you want to chime in on this discussion, I'm going to do an Instagram post about it. And that's where you can tell me all about it. And you all can have a nice, healthy debate about the term SOMM, kind of bleeding the lines into other areas of the wine industry. I think it's fascinating. I would love to hear your thoughts. Wine Educate is the Instagram handle, and find the post and let me know. Let me know what you think. All right, friend, thank you for listening. And if you have a topic you would like me to bring up on the podcast, or if you have a wine-related question, just let me know. Send me an email, joanne@wineeducate.com. Thanks so much.